Time to end this suffering. I need a minute to myself. To pieces.
Hey everybody, this is TJ DeSantis on the 411 Ground and Pound Radio podcast. Not really, but I've always wanted to work for the Sure Dog Radio Network, like not the Ground and Pound podcast with Mark Radulich. But okay, here we go. This is it's been a long time coming. This is going to be Slugfest Wizard right here to do my picks and predictions for UFC 160, a heavyweight title fight that we probably never thought we'd get again. It wasn't a title fight before, but okay. On May 25th, the Ultimate Fighting Championship will be presenting to you at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, Cain Velasquez, the reigning heavyweight champion, against Antonio Bigfoot Silva in a rematch from their UFC 142 card, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see, hold on. Yes, this is going to be strictly audio this time. 146. There you go. Okay. Just like a quick backstory to this. I am usually getting the heavyweight title, I usually get the UFC heavyweight title fights wrong. One of the first ones I got right when I was doing this, when I got into it, was when at UFC 100 with the Brock Lesnar versus Frank Mir rematch. I picked Brock Lesnar to go in there and smash Frank Mir in the rematch and to not get knee barred or submitted or whatever, and that happened. Then I picked him to get his ass kicked against Shane Carwin, and he submitted Shane Carwin after getting his ass kicked by him. Okay, furthermore, then when I picked him to beat Cain Velasquez took him out in the first round. Then when Cain Velasquez had the title, seriously, Cain Velasquez seemed like that he was finally going to be that guy, that he was going to be the man to hold the belt for a while in the UFC, because the heavyweight title is kind of cursed for whatever reason. No one has been able to successfully defend it more than twice. Or I mean, I think even twice. Not even Tim Sylvia or Randy Couture. Okay. So I apologize that the audio might be a little scratchy here. But, okay. Cain Velasquez then looked like he was the baddest man on the planet until he fought a guy by the name of Junior Dos Santos on Fox, on the most watched fight of 2011, in a big fight that only lasted 64 seconds. Okay, but what happened. Cain Velasquez came back, and what do you know? I picked him to lose against Junior Dos Santos again in December of last year when they fought in their rematch. And that didn't happen. It looked like it was going to when, Cain was just diving all over the place, just looking for any takedown or any clinch at all against Dos Santos. And Dos Santos was able to clip him a couple times with some punches, but then a funny thing happened. Cain Velasquez did not get knocked out. And he didn't finish off Dos Santos either, but he completely sucked out all of the energy and all of the tenacity that Mr. Sagano had in that bout. And he thrashed him for 5 straight rounds and dominated him, and then, thanked his Latino fans again. And it was great to see. It was a nice surprise to a card in which it was kind of underwhelming, to say the least, with the exception of the Jim Miller-Joe Lozon fight. That was fun. And Costa Philippou making a name for himself. But, okay. In this fight, I gotta say, I feel like I really should pick Bigfoot Silva. He surprised me a lot of times. He beat Fedor when I didn't think he'd beat Fedor, and then I picked him to lose against Travis Brown and Alistair Overeem, and he destroyed both of them. It took him a while. The thing with Bigfoot is that he takes a while to get going. And Daniel Cormier went in and just obliterated him, just smashed him up and broke his hand during the process. But so I'm gonna prepare myself to see Bigfoot get the title and like knock out Cain Velasquez. If Bigfoot is gonna win this, it's gonna be by some sort of miracle one shot knockout plan that he has in very early on in the fight, because Cain Velasquez is gonna exhaust him otherwise and just take down over. Then he may throw a couple of high kicks, like high roundhouse kicks, and he's gonna be keeping his head low. And you gotta know he's been training with Daniel Cormier. I still believe his chin is good. He just has to be careful to not get hit on the equilibrium behind the ear. And with everything being equal in this fight, and providing that Velasquez goes in there with a good game plan and doesn't decide to stand too long with Bigfoot, I'm gonna pick Cain Velasquez to win by maybe a second round TKO this time. Just it's tough to pick against him, but Bigfoot says that it's going to go a lot differently, and I'm prepared to see that too. So, Cain, do your thing, man. Okay, next fight. Junior Dos Santos versus Mark Hunt. I really keep going back... Well, the former heavyweight champion, Junior Dos Santos. Mark Hunt, a true Cinderella story of the UFC, if there ever was one. This guy was a nightclub bouncer in New Zealand, and he was able to become an MMA star in Pride by he first lost to Hidehiko Yoshida. He went in there, he beat Dan Bobish. He pulled off a shocking win over Vanderlei Silva, and then he was able to beat Mirko Krokop. In doing so, like, took a left leg roundhouse kick right to the head from Krokop in his prime. That's how much of a chin that Hunt has. He's very difficult to knock out and put away with strikes. It's only happened to him like one time. He beat Yasuhiro Nishiyama at Pride 31 and Tsuyoshi Kosaka in what would be Kosaka's last ever MMA fight, unless he fought again, and I'm somehow just getting that wrong. And then he went on a pretty rough loss. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, he lost 6 times. In a total of Pride and in the UFC to Sean McCorkle in his debut at UFC 119 back in September of 2010. So, yikes. The same Sean McCorkle that hasn't really done a whole lot since then, except he moved to Bellator. Okay. And then after that loss, everybody pretty much wrote off Mark Hunt, that he was done. And then he goes in there and he knocks out Brock Lesnar's training partner, Chris Tursher. And then he surprises me and defeats Ben Rothwell. He then knocks out Chet Congo at UFC 144, and then knocks out Stefan Struve also, and breaks Stefan Struve's jaw in a frightening fashion. A fight in which I did pick him to beat Stefan Struve. That was a close one, because Struve had everything that it took to submit him, because that's going to be what Junior Dos Santos is going to need to do. Junior Dos Santos, if you want to go in there and defeat Mark Hunt and make a statement, do not go in there and stand with him. It's going to be weird, I know, because Junior Dos Santos has mostly shown that he's good at just doing 2 things. Stuffing your takedowns, avoiding your wrestling. Okay, 3 things. Stuffing takedowns, avoiding wrestling, and lighting you up with strikes until the referee pulls you off. He's a great world-class boxer from Brazil who, took out Cain Velasquez in like a couple of punches in 64 seconds. He then defended against Frank Mir in a fight in which everyone and their mother picked him to defend it against Frank Mir. And then he just was not prepared for his next fight against Velasquez. His footwork was terrible, and his gas was his gas tank was even worse. And it was really surprising to see that happen to a guy that had gone on the longest unbeaten winning streak in the heavyweight division. And seriously, I feel like I really should pick Mark Hunt in this. What do I hope happens? I hope Mark Hunt goes in there and knocks out Junior Dos Santos or submits him. That would be amazing for Hunt's career. But the odds of Junior Dos Santos going in there and beating Hunt at his own striking game, or actually not striking, he's probably going to go and take him down and probably look for a submission, because Hunt has been submitted a couple times in his career. And I think that's what Dos Santos is going to do, and that's what Dos Santos is going to want to show all of us on May 25th. So, I really feel like I should just say, okay, Mark Hunt by knockout in the first round, Because really, in my honest opinion, it should be Mark Hunt in the main event right here, and not Bigfoot. Bigfoot should be fighting Dos Santos in this fight. Anyway. Yeah, so there we go. I want to pick Junior Dos Santos by unanimous decision. And for him to not have the power to quite take out the Super Samoan. Okay, in the lightweight division, we've got Gray Maynard versus TJ Grant. This is kind of a rough one. Gray Maynard got a couple of lightweight title shots against Frank Edgar, and then got knocked out by Frank Edgar in their third and final fight. And Maynard, I did get some newfound respect for him in his fight against Clay Guida, in which Clay Guida just ran around the circle, like the ring, in circles, and it refused to engage for all but a couple seconds at a time. And Gray Maynard was walking at him, telling him to hit him just to make something happen. So Gray Maynard, I think, is definitely the better wrestler, better than TJ Grant. But TJ Grant, if I believe correctly, he's actually done some good things from moving to lightweight. He's 4-0. He beat Shane Roller, Carlo Prater, Evan Dunham, and Matt Wyman, and that he actually knocked out Matt Wyman. And it'd be great if TJ Grant got the winner at this. If Gray Maynard wins this fight, is he really going to get a title shot against Ben Henderson? That's going to be really awkward in my opinion, because he'll almost become the lightweight champion just kind of by default, when I think the lightweight division is obviously stacked enough and competitive enough that it should take more than just 2 wins. That, and still Gray Maynard has also not finished, has only 1 finish in the UFC, but that actually doesn't bother me, because Ben Henderson doesn't have any finishes either in the UFC. And I think I'd pick actually Gray Maynard to beat Ben Henderson by a kind of a really deflating decision for the people to watch. But man, that'll be just really... Frank Edgar would be pissed at that, pretty much. For him to be like, didn't I beat that guy? So TJ Grant should get the shot if he wins right here, but unfortunately, I think that Gray Maynard's wrestling is going to be too big of an issue for Grant, and Grant has been out wrestled before by guys that were, not quite as big as Gray Maynard. He's lost to the likes of Ricardo Almeida, Johnny Hendricks, and Dong Hyun Kim. So I'm going to go with Gray Maynard by a split decision or unanimous decision in this fight. And the final fight on the main card, we've got Donald Cerrone against KJ Noons. KJ Noons, coming off of a robbery against Ryan Couture, in which I really thought that he won. In which Ryan Couture backed up at the last Strikeforce event, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, again, the Mark White Safadine event. And now he's 1-4 in his last 5 fights. He's lost to Josh Thompson, Jorge Masvidal, Nick Diaz, and he beat Billy Evangelista. He has only been finished 1 time in his career, and that was by a guy by the name of Charles Bennett at an Elite XC Destiny. Donald Cerrone is pretty much a really high-level, kind of always the bridesmaid, never the bride's type contender, in which he's one of those guys that will always be competitive, but never quite good enough to beat the top dog of any division. Whether it's him getting choked out by Ben Henderson, losing to Jamie Varner, or losing a weird fight against Nate Diaz, in which he just didn't do enough of what he needed to do to win, and got into a boxing match with Nate Diaz, which is not good. And then he got stopped by Anthony Pettis with a quick body kick in one of Pettis' masterful performances. So that was the first time in a while that he was actually stopped with strikes, because he has such an otherworldly tough jaw that I think that KJ Noons does not have the boxing power or the technique to put a guy like Donald Cerrone away, and I don't think he has the jiu-jitsu enough that's good enough to threaten Cerrone either. I think Cerrone is just going to be too confusing for Noons, and I think that he's just going to be he's going to be able to get into Noons' head without having without his brain short-circuiting like it does against other fights. So I'm going to pick Donald Cerrone by maybe TKO, if not by TKO in the 3rd round. If that doesn't happen, he's going to win by a pretty clear-cut decision. And the preliminary FX card, I'm going to go through this quickly. I'm going to pick Mike Pyle, actually, to defeat Rick Story. I'm going to pick Max Holloway to defeat Dennis Bermudez. Actually, you know what? Let me see something. Dennis Bermudez, what kind of a streak is he on? He beat Matt Grice, Pablo Garza, and some guy named Tommy Hayden. Yeah, I'm still going to pick Max Holloway. Okay, I'm going to pick Robert Whitaker to defeat Colton Smith. And Khabib Nurmagomedov. Is that the guy on like the 22 unbeaten streak? Damn it, yeah. This guy is 19-0. Khabib Nurmagomedov is 19-0, and he's just coming off of a knockout of Thiago Tavares, and I'm surprised that this guy isn't talked about more and isn't on the FX card. It's really surprising. Like, getting 19 wins since your debut in mixed martial arts is no easy feat. Unless it turns out that he was, Miguel Torresing it in Hammond, Indiana. I'm going to pick Nurmagomedov to defeat Abel Trujillo. I'm going to pick Nacho Burrell to defeat Stephen Thompson. Stephen Thompson, I got to say this, I was really disappointed with his performance against Matt Brown, but Matt Brown has shown himself to be a very competent lightweight through all these years. Welterweight all these years. And I'm going to go with George Roop to defeat Brian Bowles. Unless Brian Bowles can put some leather on George Roop early. And I'm going to go with Estevan Payen to defeat Jeremy Stevens. Okay, those are my picks. Also, just for the record, I'm going to pick the underdog Luke Rockhold to defeat Vitor Belfort. But me doing that, like, I keep picking against Vitor Belfort in those things. Except I don't think I picked him when he fought Michael Bisping. I think I'd actually picked Bisping to win that one. But yeah, I'm going to pick Luke Rockhold to win a decision against Vitor Belfort and to look okay but not great during it. I hope he looks spectacular. And I was also looking forward to seeing Costa Philippou again against, I believe it's James Tahuna. But actually, no. I'm going to pick Ronaldo Jacare Souza to defeat Chris Camozzi. And that's all I've got for now. Stay real with mixed martial arts, guys. Keep up the good work, and I'm going to go and try to get this photography website started. Be cool, stay in school, and say no to drugs. Bye.